stun lock the opponent until you can kill them, and just like build up anger, build up big bombs, build up shrapnel bombs, just whatever you need to kill them. Hello everybody and welcome back to Dawncaster. Today we are going to be playing the Bomb Warrior in the Sunforge. This is one of my favorite builds for the Sunforge because it both combines control and damage, which are the two things that you need to take down the huge variety of boss opponents you're going to face in the Sunforge. This whole build is built around bombs, of which there are many separate types. There are some that can stun your opponent, there's some that can take away their blessings, there's some that can do one big amount of damage, there's some that can do tiny small increments of damage. For this build, we're going to deactivate all the packs that we don't need, that don't provide bombs, and we are going to enable Weapon Obsession. The reason we use Weapon Obsession is having the additional hand cannons at the start is going to help you fire off your bombs quicker. Basically, the normal way a bomb works is it counts down each turn from 3 to 0 until you can use them, but the hand cannon essentially just jumps ahead and lets you fire the bomb off at any moment in the charging cycle. So we're taking triple red strength, since we're a warrior. Then we're probably going to look for either the benevolent talent or heavy impact is also a good choice. Objection is also quite good because that generates a ton of fury, which makes our shrapnel bomb super strong. Bombardier's not bad either. However, benevolent is pretty much always the safest go-to if you can't think of anything more original than that. Now, the starting card you're always going to need here is Demolition. Why Demolition? Because it lets you conjure a custom bomb, and this is exactly what makes the bomb build so goddamn strong, are these custom bombs. So you have the one generic bomb, which is just a 20 damage bomb that interrupts your opponent. But then the custom bombs, there's like 5 or 6 of them, and this is where the build becomes just super interesting. What exactly they do, I will explain as we get into the actual fighting. Here I'm just picking up things that primarily defend us. We need a lot of defensive talents to make this work, so stuff like battle resilience, the talent we just took, is really gonna help us get ahead here. Then we're gonna try and pick up a few other bomb cards and card draw cards. The reason why we need other bomb cards is that Demolition, this card that conjures the custom bombs we took at the start, it has charges, so we can only use it 3 times per combat. However, there are other bomb cards like Restock here that just conjures 2 generic bombs for us, but does not have charges. So no matter how long the fight goes, we'll always be able to get more bombs out of it. These bombs won't be as strong as the kind of bombs that you're going to see from the Demolition, the custom ones, but they are still more than functional. So the bomb we took here is the Soulfire bomb. The way this one works is it life drains from the opponent, and it also has reaping, so it's going to lower the opponent's maximum health whenever you hit them with it. This is our primary form of sustain via bombs. However, we can always just use other generic warrior tactics, such as getting rally, or maybe even getting the anger management talent. One thing we're really... Oh, there we go, got another Demolition. I was about to say, one thing we're really trying to do with this build is copy the Demolition card like 5 or 6 times, because especially in some of the later fights, like fighting against the Spine, you're going to need tons of copies of this because the fights just go so damn long. You're also going to want to be able to reliably draw one, so potentially memorizing one of them so you definitely have it at the start of the combat, and then copying it 2 or 3 times, you always have 2 or 3 in your starting hand, the better they get. So here at the start, our bombs at the base level just do so much damage that you could pretty much just, like, if you ask me, almost entirely write off the first portal for the most part, because the opponents have such little health that even without any kind of upgrades on your bombs, you're just going to be killing them like 2 to 3 hits, right? From Portal 2 is where things start to get a bit more complicated, because your bomb's base level for the most part is just going to be still at a pretty low level at that point, because 20 damage just isn't as impressive anymore when your opponents start to have hundreds of health. And that's where you need to start thinking bigger and start leaning a bit more into the controlling playstyle of the bombs. Another thing is super important to point out is that, so the way bombs work, as I explained earlier, is they will initially start with 3 charges, and then as you can see, go down by 1 charge whenever our turn starts, right? However, if you play a card that has charges, it will also reduce it by 1. So you can kind of time walk ahead a turn by playing charge cards. And a lot of bomb cards, like Demolition, have charges. So they will not only summon you a bomb, but also reduce the cooldown of all of your bombs by, or push it ahead, better said, by an entire turn. So the charge thing comes with like an up and a downside. For instance here, we restock twice to get all these bombs in our hands, then we play Demolition, we take the concussive bomb, and then you can see all of our normal bombs lose 1 or cost 1 energy less, which means we can play them a turn earlier. Now the concussive bomb, the green one we just put into our hand, this is the stun bomb. So if you play it, regardless of if it connects and does damage, it will just stun the opponent. So later on in the game, the way you're going to get through like really tricky fights is you're just going to try and get multiple concussive bombs into your hand in a row. And then you can just every turn play one and just stun lock the opponent until you can kill them. And just like build up anger, build up big bombs, build up shrapnel bombs, just whatever you need to kill them. So that big purple bomb we just took there is the big bomb that at a base does, I think, 40 damage. Let's see what we get here. Ooh, none of this is very good. But if I had to take one now, I'd take either Arcane Coil or Energy Shield. Arcane Coil, because that free lightning bolt every turn, what that can do for you is against certain bosses that have mechanics like the Dawncaster. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I chose. Like the Dawnbringer, they have these mechanics where you need to hit them X amount of times before you start doing any real damage to them, or they have invulnerability. That one lightning bolt you get per turn will help you kind of burn through that. The lightning bolt is also a great anger delivery vehicle. So if you have 20 anger and your lightning bolt does like 2 damage, it will do 22, right? And later on this build, we're going to try and get the Battleborn talent so we can stack anger for shrapnel bombs. So the lightning bolt just becomes another sort of like damage delivery tool. In general, what you're going to see at the start of my turns is I'll spend 1 turn kind of setting up my hand, and then in the next few turns trying to lock the opponent down and kill them. So you might unfortunately spend your first turn just taking a ton of damage, but you can see here, already in our second turn, we're able to get the opponent super low and kill them. Now, if you pay attention to what I just did there, is I could have just killed them with a normal bomb, but instead I went to look for a Soulfire bomb, so I could just get some more life from the opponent before they died on the way out. If you can end a fight, or always try and end a fight with the most amount of life possible in Sunforge, or I mean in the normal campaign mode as well. So, Balsier Hildoon, by the way, you can't stun her, so do not take the stun bombs. Just took a big bomb here because it'll do the most amount of damage. Triple Jinx, that's pretty brutal. So, wild bombs are pretty good at dealing with opponents' blessings because one of the custom bombs dispels blessings and none of them cleanse your own afflictions. So, if you get locked down by tons of jinxes or stuff, the bombs themselves are not going to help you out there. You're going to need some kind of card, like, I'm trying to think of a warrior card that cleanses afflictions. I don't actually really think there are any. You have Spellbreaker that dispels from opponents. But you might need to lean into potions there if you're really scared of it. So here we can stack a bit of anger before we swing all out, but Hildoon is pretty much dead here. Yeah. You see how we're just kind of sailing through this first portal. There's like nothing can really stop us here. Copy another Demolition. And just keep on going. Yeah, so here taking the concussive bomb is the right choice. Because we basically want to be able to lock down Kaios on the turn where he revives himself. Can't cast our lightning bolt because we're silenced. So at the beginning of the game, the shrapnel bombs aren't really that great. It's because they basically deal like 2 damage in 5 increments, so 10 damage total. But later on, when you get a bit more anger going, they become really good because each of those individual 5 hits applies your full anger. Yeah, no stun bomb here, unfortunately. I just cast Last Stand and pass. Yeah, so Caius won't be able to do much to us here. Now we can kill him with the big bomb. Ideally, we would have been able to dispel his anger before we passed there, but this is fine too. War Priest or Grit, both pretty good here. I might take War Priest though. I think that's going to heal us more overall, especially because that will feed into Lionheart if we start to overheal, because Grit is only really good if you're regularly going low. Oh, okay. I'm quite surprised I took Grit there. I actually think War Priest would be better. But there you go. Past me disagrees with current me, and that's fine. So Serena can be a little bit annoying. However, she is... sometimes when you fight Serena with certain builds, what she does is she'll kind of mess up your combo because you're trying to play cards in a certain order, right? And she does this whole dominated thing. The thing with the bombs is like once they're ready to go, they're ready to go, right? And they're going to do what they're going to do regardless of kind of the order they're played in. They're not quite as vulnerable to being played out of order as other cards. A Serena usually is not that big of a challenge for you. The other great thing about Serena is that if she's trying to make you play a card you don't want to play, you can just pass the turn. And the thing is, you're still getting something out of it because every turn the cooldown on your bomb goes down by 1. So even if you kind of do nothing during your turn, you're still 1 turn closer to getting your bombs ready. Ouch, got reflected there. Something you really need to watch out with this build if you're playing the big bomb, because you can end up taking a lot of damage if you don't watch out. So, Portal 1, down really quick, really smoothly, really easy. No problem at all. Starlit Ursa. So, this is, for many builds, an extremely frustrating fight, because the way this works is that you're only ever going to do a maximum amount of damage equal to the amount of, I think it's called Soul. So you see at the top right, there's that little 3. So at the moment, none of our attacks can do any more than 3 damage. Usually this is like a huge pain in the ass. However, we have the Shrapnel Bomb, and because it does damage in increments of 5, it will shove up that Soul trigger 5 times. So now he's already at 7, right? And if we can get another Shrapnel Bomb, we can push it up to 12, etc., etc. So you can very, very quickly increase the ceiling of damage that we're doing to this opponent. The lightning bolts we're getting from that free imbue we got earlier are also helping us here, because each one of those is pushing that up by another damage. Spirit, not soul, that's what it's called. Yeah, easy. This is such a versatile build that really has a tool for pretty much every single opponent in the game. I think you'd be quite tempted to think of bombs as sort of just like a big damage build, but really it's a control build with big damage finishers. It's not really like, trying to think of something that just like whops people with 1 or 2 big hits, like the Corrupted Arcanist with the Eldritch Flame build, which is just 1 big hit. This really isn't that. This needs a little bit more preparation to get there. There are ways of playing this build where you kind of mess around with upgrades, and then you kind of permanently apply them to one of the bombs, make it permanent, and put that bomb into your deck as a card to draw. And then you can kind of get bombs that have hundreds, if not thousands, of upgrades on them and sort of cheese. But that's a little bit hard to do in the Sunforge. A little reminder there to pack our CDs. Donating some old CDs to charity. If any of you guys want an old Shakira CD or Backstreet Boys, let me know. So, tricky fight here, right? We do not want the Wandering Slime's health to end on an even number, but we just don't have a lot of control over that with this build because we can't just throw out damage whenever we want to. So we're kind of looking for ways to just either kill this guy as quickly as possible or just temporarily leave him at a... Yeah, see, that was probably a mistake there. What I would say what I should have done there is I should have just left him at 117 or whatever it was, rather than try to push him lower. This is definitely a misplay. What we can at least try and do here is just stun him. How much is the concussive shot doing? No. So it's just kind of keep him low enough. Sorry, not low enough, on uneven life totals so that he will not gain double his health again. He won't ever be able to really do his deadly attack against us because the base bombs, they interrupt, and interrupts knock off deadly attacks. However, he could still just heal himself to such a ridiculous amount that we'd never be able to kill him, and then we'd essentially just have to call it quits. However, here... we can just find a hand cannon. Yeah. Very nice. So there we also stalled for a moment just to get a little bit more life out of our soul fire bomb. Upgrading all our cards here. Not really because it matters on the hand cannon. When you play the hand cannon and it fires a bomb instead of doing damage, it doesn't apply any upgrades to it, but because of the surge stone. If you can get your surge stone to +4 upgrades, meaning it'll give you 5 momentum in the Sunforge, what it means is that every single time you play a surge, you'll draw a card, which is super, super good to making the surges in your deck have some value later on in the game. For the most part, surges are kind of bad to have in most builds, the longer the game goes on. That being said, with us, because we have the Benevolent Talent, they're giving us 3 life, and we have Lionheart, which means they're also giving us 3 armor, and we have the Body of Steel, which means they're also giving us 3 Reflect, so maybe they're actually not too bad in this build. Yeah, and imagine they do all of that, and then they draw you a card as well. Random Talent. Brute Force. Okay, it doesn't really do anything for us. Melee actions, Inflict Stagger. I don't even know if we have any melee actions. I would think we have Headbutt. Okay, so this is the guy I mentioned earlier where the lightning bolt's going to come in handy. So he's currently at the middle difficulty, so he only has 2 of his protection stacks. But the first 2 hits we do every turn are going to be reduced to a single damage. So what we can either do is use a shrapnel bomb, which hits 5 times. So the first 2 shrapnel hits will kind of remove that protection, and then we can hit him for real. Or we can just do this, stun him after hitting with the lightning bolt, and then just try and chain him down with these stuns. So we already have the next lock with this Steady Strike here. By the way, this is a really, really, really good build for using cards that make basic attacks that cost like 1 mana. That's because, again, the hand cannon, it doesn't really matter how much damage is on the hand cannon. The damage that's going to be dealt is going to be dealt by the bomb. So even if you have 100 upgrades in the hand cannon, it doesn't matter. So you might as well get cards that make basic attacks that cost 1 energy. So you'll save half your energy and then still get to throw a bomb out there. There is actually one card that is basically, I think, designed to literally be nothing but a replacement for the hand cannon. God, what's it called? Fire at Will or Open Fire or something? Essentially, the art has a guy on it who's basically coordinating a bomb barrage, and it has 5 charges. So you do a basic attack, but then you also trigger a charge, which means all your bombs' cooldowns go down by 1. So this is the point where we can start taking maximum health. Once you're sitting on like 5, 6, 7 or so rerolls, you can start taking maximum health. The reason you need at least 5 rerolls, in my opinion, is when you come across the imbue option. If you have at least 5, you'll be shown the maximum amount of enchantments, which is 6. If you have any more than 5, you won't get shown anymore, but it's still always just nice to have 6 or 7, so that if there is a certain talent you're looking for, especially as you go into the final boss for each portal, which is where you can find the highest level talents, you have enough rerolls available to find what you need. So for instance, I think we have Keen Mind as one of our talents, which means that we can find Omniscience later. And alternatively, we can also find Battleborn, which are both really, really good talents to have. But having a few rerolls there can sometimes make all the difference. So 1 is just always a bit of a slog of a fight if you don't have any way to prevent yourself from getting stunned. One thing though that's really worth noting with 1 and bombs is whenever he increases the cost of all the cards in your hand by 1, you'll see the bomb cost go up by 1. However, when it comes back to around to your turn and like the start of turn cooldown thing happens, it will jump all the way to where it was previously. So you see this bomb in our hand that has like 5 cost, it's going to go all the way down to 2. Because it was 3, 1 increased it twice, so it went up to 5, but then at the beginning of our turn, it brings it all the way back down to 2. So bombs are actually not that bad against 1. Because no matter what he does, he can't actually increase their cost. Yeah, you're never really in any danger here, because even if 1 gives himself a massive barrier, you just take the bomb that dispels blessings. So right here he's got 87 barrier, right? Really annoying. Oh, I guess we're not even gonna dispel it, just fight right through it. Works as well. But yeah, otherwise you could just look for the bomb that dispels blessings, that's fine as well. I think that's our 5th copy of Demolition, so we're looking pretty good with those. Most I've ever had must have been like 8 or 9 or something. A really good talent to find on this build as well is, I believe it's called Objection, and basically whenever you interrupt your opponent, you add a Fury card to your deck, and all your Fury cards give you 1 more Anger. And because each of your normal bombs interrupt, your Anger cards are going to quickly start giving you like 5, 10, 15 Anger per card. You use a few of those, you throw off a Shrapnel Bomb, and you'll kill like pretty much any boss from full health. That sense is actually quite similar to Cataclysm, where you have this 1 card that you're sort of just charging up and then you throw it out there and it does all this damage. Don't forget that Avatar with the Pyre, after quote-unquote dying, kind of goes into egg form. You need to kill him again. Stunning him won't change that. However, what the stunning will do will prevent him from obviously playing any attacks on his turn. So here we don't necessarily want to kill him. If we just pass here, he's stunned anyhow. And then with the bombs in our hand, we should definitely be able to kill him this next turn, especially if we play these Furies first. Yeah, pretty easy. We still even hit the big bomb there as a backup, just in case that didn't work. We're getting War Priest offered again. I kind of had to take it now. Okay, so now we have Grit and War Priest and Benevolent and Battle Resilience, so we have so much defense. If something gets through here, it's probably honestly because we misplayed something. So the Arachnid Progenitor, a bit of a tricky fight. Not really necessarily because of the damage he deals. Like, he does do this thing where he puts us down to like basically no health, but more because if you don't have a bomb on tap to recover during these turns where you have life drain because of the Arachnid Progenitor's ability, you're going to get wrecked. So you kind of always need to make sure that you have just like at least one bomb there to heal yourself back up. Also remember that because we have Body of Steel, whenever we gain life, we're gaining a ton of reflect, so we're going to end up probably forcing the Arachnid Progenitor to do a lot of damage to himself because of his own life gain ability. So, you know, that's kind of on the spider. I'd say that's his fault. So here, not playing the shrapnel bomb because I want to stack a bit more anger before I fire it off. The anti-mage bomb there wasn't the right choice. This guy doesn't have any blessings. Or we could have sat in those shrapnel bombs a little bit longer as well. Yeah, just getting 2 stun bombs ready for later. So the thing is, the Arachnid Progenitor isn't going to be able to use his deadly attack very often going forwards because we're constantly interrupting him. However, what we are going to be dealing with is this infected, so we definitely are happy to see these surges because just healing a single time will dispel the infected, like that. So you're seeing how this build can just go really long, right? And how we can just essentially take turn after turn after turn without our opponent being able to interfere. This is sort of the control side of the build. Nice. Left that with 1 health short. It's 2 portals down already. He's up in that maximum health so we can tank hits easier. Ooh, Primal Behemoth. So this is a boss you can either do 2 ways. You can either just commit to hitting them with bombs from the start and just keep on dispelling the resilience. However, don't forget that the resilience that Primal Behemoth applies to himself, even if you dispel, let's say, his 20 resilience, the next time he reapplies it to himself, it'll come back at 21. It won't start at 1 again. The other way of doing this is just stacking anger, just totally ignoring him, and then just hitting him with 1 big shrapnel bomb at the end. The thing is, it doesn't really matter how much he's regenerating, right, if he's at full health. The only thing that's a bit scary here is not getting killed by the stagger. Yeah, just stunning him in between turns. He can have a little bit of resilience. That's fine. We'll just dispel it. We can stun him again for another turn after this. That's fine. So taking a lot of damage from that stagger that we got applied to us in our first turn. Yep, just stun him. Keep him locked down. The Primal Behemoth can be such a tricky fight for many builds. Like, of any boss, I would almost say that this one is like one of the worst run enders in the entire game. Just the gimmick of having to battle this resilience while he heals himself, and also the not being able to play very many actions is just so brutal. So Grit coming in clutch here, otherwise he would have died on upkeep to that stagger probably. So we basically just need to go all in this turn. Just need to do more than 41 damage. We can still stun him with the concussive bomb because it's not an on-hit effect. But we have 2 big bombs, so if we play this, we can play that big bomb. And then if that hadn't killed him, we could have played the second one and won. So nice. Upgrade here to get the Surge down to 5. Yeah, that's the right choice. Apex Stalker can be a little bit scary if you come into the fight with low health like this. However, Grit should help us kind of put up the defensives here. So we get 36 health from Grit because it's the Grit, then it's the Benevolent, then it's War Priest, and then Lionheart. So we gain 36 life and then gain 36 armor. This is just what you need to do at the beginning, is just stack all the defensives so that later on when you're trying to get your more effective damage together as we are here, you already have defensives that are just keeping you in the game. Yeah, stun. Then, to be honest, when we play this big bomb, we're probably going to get rid of all of the Apex Stalker's darkness, which will just automatically stun him again anyhow. Let's kill him with the big bomb now. Easy one. Or, I was about to say, do we really need to stun him for one more turn? I think we can just kill him. So talents we're still looking out for now. Omniscience would be great. Purity would be great. But I think if we want to take down the spine, I think Battleborn is what we really need. I don't really think that we have enough energy generation actually to make use of Omniscience, and the problem with Omniscience with a build like this where you have a lot of persistent cards is you do have a maximum hand size, and if you don't also have Strategist that increases your hand size, you're going to be stuck with like 5 bombs in your hand, then you're going to go to draw an extra 3 plus the 1 from Keen Mind, and you're going to draw like 4 cards because your hand size is just really small. So if you can find Strategist, I guess Omniscience is actually really good. But otherwise, maybe not that amazing. It'll be really good in the first 1 or 2 turns when you're just trying to find all the key cards to put together like a turn 2 or 3 kill, or just set up like an endless stun combo. But I think against the spine, Dante, I'd rather have Battleborn, and then Purity as an additional defensive. Nice. Yeah, making Bull Rush there memorized. If you guys haven't read the text on Bull Rush yet, basically if you play it as the very, very first action of a combat, it'll stun the opponent. So just part of our stun luck there. So it didn't do anything to the Elder Lich because the Elder Lich is undead and therefore can't be stunned, but otherwise that would have been a great play. So Anti-Mage Bomb is definitely a good choice here. The Elder Lich is going to keep on increasing their Foretell and Barrier, and just keeping one of these Anti-Mage Bombs on tap so that when you have your big kill turn, you can first get rid of the barrier is the right thing to do. This is really a toolbox build, I guess, is the way you can think about it. Like a delayed toolbox build. Don't really mind losing a little bit of health here and there because that just means that grit triggers even harder. Okay, so now this guy just stole our reflect, so you really want to watch out with bosses that can steal your blessings like this if you're playing Body of Steel. Because if we throw like a massive big bomb at him now, we're gonna get that all smacked back right to us. And if you're playing a build that is doing big amounts of damage in individual instances, you're just gonna kill yourself. Nice. Gotta bide your time with some of these bosses a little bit, you know, like don't even try and engage with their weird defenses. Just set up your own thing, get all the bombs you need in your hand, and you know, kill them then. Copying Battle Rage or Sanguine's Crying could also be a play here. Yeah. Just to up our anger generation a little bit. Because at the moment, like while we are gaining anger, we're not gaining it very quickly and we're not really scaling that much. So a fight against like the last boss Elder Lich is kind of fine because they don't really scale very well because we can keep on dispelling their blessings. But in some later fights, we're kind of it's a bit of a timed fight and you just really need to get through the opponent. Having that extra anger can really make all the difference. Like there are even some fights where you don't want to be stunning your opponent, like the Ancient Colossus, because if you stun him, he will never put Fracture into your deck, and you'll have to keep on getting through an increasingly big amount of armor turn after turn. So you don't actually want to stun certain enemies, and those are fights where if you can just get your anger to build up before the Ancient Colossus detonates himself, you're going to be at a big advantage. Those battle rages will help there a little bit. Viola Skysworn's like a decent matchup for bombs. None of the bombs really have on-hit effects, so the fact that we have to get through this Charm Shield first is like whatever. The stun applies to her regardless of if it hits. There you go. So just like a fine fight. Yeah, don't play the shrapnel bomb there. We can definitely stack a bit more anger first before we do that. Probably should have played those shrapnel bombs last turn. Yeah, she was definitely going to dispel it there. That was a mistake on my part. Could have done a lot more damage. Yeah, see, now I'm just throwing them out there because I'm like, these are actually kind of useless. So if we can't keep the anger generation going. Back to Serena. I doubt the outcome's going to be any different this time, but she's welcome to try it again. I don't think we have any reliable cards in this deck, so we can't do anything about being controlled by her. One of the warrior's biggest weaknesses is definitely dispelling afflictions on themselves. Serena's also not a fight where stunning is like amazing because the dominated still gets applied to you via her enchantment. It's not like an ability she's casting, right? So you still have to deal with that no matter what happens to her. So she's stolen our reflect, so do not fire a big bomb into her. Oh, I'm doing it anyhow. I'm not sure if I just didn't notice it or I just didn't care. I mean, like, Grit's got our back, right? Like, the big bomb wasn't big enough to kill us or something, but that was potentially just sloppy play. Oh, I think we've got her now. Yeah, because we can just anger Demolition and then just headbutt her, even. Headbutt her. Or that. That's fine too. Guess it's more thematic to take her down with the bombs at this point, isn't it? Not even sure what I'm looking for here. I wonder if I was thinking whether or not I should try and make one of the demolition things memorized. So there is this one card that's really good. It's like a 1 energy card that whenever you play it, it upgrades all of your bombs by that much for the rest of this combat. We unfortunately have not been able to find that yet. Because that was also really good for the shrapnel bomb, because that works essentially exactly the same as anger, right? If they do 5 more damage, they do 5 more damage 5 times, not just a single time. Boulder back here can also give himself reflect, so again, watch out for the reflect. I think all of us have probably killed ourselves on the boulder back reflect at some point. Dawncaster tradition. Invulnerability, not as scary as reflect. Easy. Moves like staggers, good, sustain, but we are... So the reason I definitely rolled away there to try and get something is this is the... Whenever you're fighting the last enemy of any given portal, you always have the option to find one of the highest level talents. So now we're up against Dante, right? So he puts a bunch of ward on himself at the beginning of his turn, but remember that the stun bombs, they don't apply an affliction. Stun is like a status effect. I'm not really quite sure actually what the exact difference here is, but it cannot be stopped by ward. So the reason I'm playing my shrapnel bombs early now is that each of them is giving me 5 anger, right? Because they're hitting 5 times, and because of Battleborn, we're actually getting 5 anger. You might see all this stagger we're building up coming in really clutch soon because we picked up a card just before that lets us transfer our stagger to our opponent. So getting stagger on ourselves now rather than damage is like double useful because we can convert it into damage on our opponent rather than just mitigating it on ourselves. Yeah, Aftershock, but ran out of energy to play it there. They're really looking for a concussive bomb here, yeah. So we're not going to be able to kill him here, but that massive life gain there just gave us a huge reflect and armor. So even if he does a bunch of damage to us, it's not going to get through that. Swiddling him down here, stunning him wherever we can. Oh, that's going to do a lot of damage now. Yeah, take the concussive bomb just to be safe. There are other shrapnel bombs. Yeah, nice. Let's take him down with the concussive. Very easy. So, like, even a big fight like Dante, you have enough defensives like we do, you can afford to get hit by his abilities. Like, you don't even need to necessarily like evade them or make yourself impervious. Just face tank them, you know, if you have enough healing. And I think healing is the best kind of defense in Sunforge, because you're not going to be able to block every single opponent's kind of attacks, because some of them have piercing, some of them do it via afflictions, some of them, I don't know, they just do some weird stuff, right? But if you can just face tank the hits and then just heal up afterwards, you're always going to be fine, right? There aren't really... I can only think of one opponent off the top of my head that stops you from gaining life, which is the one of the priests, the one that does like bleeding, because they can apply the, I think it's open wounds to you, which means you can't gain any health during your turn. Otherwise, you're always good to go. This is that boss I mentioned earlier, right? You see how much damage we're taking? This is partially because we stunned him and didn't let him put a fracture in our deck. So now we can't dispel his armor without... We'll have to get rid of his armor like the hard way, because we don't have any fractures. The alternative that we can do here is, because he's going to explode in 2 turns, and it, like, quote-unquote only does 100 damage. We've got 167 life. As long as we stay above that, we won't die either. So what I would have done here is just ignored the concussive bombs, just taken his hits, and tried to draw the fracture. Now we're just gambling on being able to kill him. 74 health plus 253 armor. It's not impossible for sure. We do have a lot of bombs here. Nice. So we would have survived it either way because we had so much health. But yeah, the smartest way to do that would have been not to stun. Sixth Demolition. That free turn, starting turn to do whatever you want from using the stun there is really, really nice. Especially because this is just a bit of a setup build. But it's super functional without that as well. Probably just go Fury Demolition again. Hit him with lightning bolts, 1 or 2 big bombs. No, we could also stun again here. Oh, now we can't. We could definitely afford to take a hit or 2 here. So the reason not using, I wouldn't necessarily want to use Aftershock there and apply Stagger to the Avatar of the Pyre, is you don't actually want to accidentally trigger the egg form when you can't finish him off, because if the Stagger puts him in the egg form and you can't kill him, you kind of screw yourself. Because he'll just come back with full health right after. Or just kill him with the shrapnel bomb here, it'll do so much damage. Yeah, nice. The one fight again. We've got way more damage now. This will probably go quicker than the first time. Really ignore all of his costs increase. Remember, they don't actually do anything to us. They at least don't do anything to the bombs themselves. Yeah, those shrapnel bombs are already so much better than the first time around we faced them. If we're going to get through the spine, it's going to be with the shrapnel bombs and Battleborn. Thank God the shrine doesn't have some kind of like stun protections. You can just lock it down. This plays so many cards, Jesus. Nice. Yeah, getting some more draw going there is the right choice. I think we already have enough demolitions. So 6 of them, 3, that's 18 total custom bombs. Maybe another 1 or 2 would be good to have for the spine, just in case things don't work out perfectly. But the Sanguine Scryings, just to shuffle through our deck a little bit more, are really going to be really good as well. But this guy's also undead, so the stun does not do anything against the Marrow Amalgamation. You can tell by that little icon at the top right of their status bar that looks like a little undead skeleton holding a shield. You click on that, it'll say immune to bleeding and stunned. Massive stagger, that's really good. What's really annoying about the Marrow Amalgamation is that they add that 60 armor at the start of every single one of their turns, and unlike the Ancient Colossus, he doesn't put something like a fracture in your deck to negate it, so you either have to be able to dispel it yourself, have piercing damage, or just like slap your way through it, to be honest. Like, we're doing work on him here because we have the stagger, but he's also killing himself slowly off of our Body of Steel Reflect. Yeah, this can be a real pain in the ass for builds that rely heavily on on-hit damage. Probably take Insight here. Battle Rush, yeah, not really that useful. Upgrade the first melee action you play as combat. I mean, we're almost at the spine here, so we don't even have that many combats left. But the only thing we're going to be upgrading is the Bull Rush. Just like, whatever. So, yeah, she's immune to stun, so Bull Rush isn't going to do anything here, so I'm not even going to bother playing it. Might as well spend all that mana energy on getting bombs prepped for later. So what's quite annoying here is, so Hildoon has this ability where the frozen that she applies to you doesn't get cleansed at the end of your turn. So you kind of just need to play a lot of cards to get it down, which is usually not a problem with bombs. So you sometimes do have these turns where you just play like 2 or 3 cards and then just pass, and that will allow the frozen to build up quite a lot. So whilst you're trying to stall the game a little bit to get your bombs cooking, she is also very, very happy to stall the game because of the way her totems work. You know, they just get stronger and stronger every single turn, right? And the question is, can we outrace her? And I think between Battleborn and everything else we have, I would say yes, because those shrapnel bombs are just becoming really vicious, as you can see. So 2 more fights, and then we're at the spine. Caius again, pretty easy fight. This is someone we can stun lock again, so we don't need to be scared of our stuns being wasted like on Hildoon. So this is a bomb run where we actually never found any ammo cards. If you haven't ever used ammo before, basically you just play them, and then your next 3 range attacks will have an additional effect. So one of them is, for instance, they will apply burning, or they'll apply stagger, or they will critically hit and stuff like that. So the stagger one I often find quite useful, especially like the middle portals, like 2 and 3. It can be pretty good. Later on in the game, it's fine. I think the shrapnel bomb and anger stacking is just the best thing to do. But the one that applies shocked can be super, super good with the stun bomb, because the way it works is it applies 2 shocked. So that means in 2 turns, your opponent will get stunned by it. And then what you can do is you can apply the 2 shocked. You can stun them once that turn. It'll pass to them. It'll count down a turn. They'll be stunned from the bomb. Go back to you, and then you pass again, and then the shock kicks in and they automatically get stunned again. So you can just chain those 2 things together like turn after turn after turn and just keep an opponent stunned until they die, basically, just in perpetuity. Might as well just duplicate another Demolition or a Sanguine Scrying here, I'd say. Yeah, Sanguine. This guy's a bit of a chump. He can't really do much. I've never had an issue with this guy. Kind of strikes me as a really bad version of Hildoon, because he like applies afflictions to you, but at the end of the day, they're so unfocused and random for the most part that you can just kind of ignore them. Whereas Hildoon really stacks stuff on you and just kind of triple jinxes you. I think of the 3 priests, I would say the Priest of Hatred is the most annoying because he keeps on stealing your cards. And then the Chaos one is the weakest one, which is this one. And then I actually forget what the Blood one is, but that one is probably the scariest one because of that one ability of his where he returns the next damage he takes is bleeding. And I've definitely died to that, where I've like hit them with a 100 damage ability. I didn't even notice they had 100 bleeding on me, and then he just kind of tickles you and you just die. So yeah, I would say the bosses we got presented were overall pretty good for this build. Like, you can just sometimes get really unlucky and get paired up with bosses that just hard counter your builds, not bin. Purity is what I would take here. Yeah, so Omniscience is not going to be that great with having so many persistent bombs in our hand. Okay, Spine of Night. So we need to keep the spine stun locked, and we need to build up anger. Those are our like 2 most important things to do here. Okay, so that was a small mistake there. So what always happens when you shuffle through your deck versus the spine is you get this debuff placed on you that the next ability you play will get converted into a corruption. And because we have that arcane coil where we get a free lightning bolt, we should just be playing that as the first ability of our turn so that that gets turned into corruption, whereas there I play demolition, so we just permanently lost that card despite it still having charges on it. So that was a bit of a waste there. Yeah, stun bomb, that's what we need. Okay, 47 anger is pretty good, but we just got to keep on ratcheting that up. Yeah, the Jinx stops our bombs too, unfortunately. It does not stop them if you play them via your hand cannons, though, because that counts as playing a basic attack. Basic attacks can't be countered. So there, I just took a huge amount of doom because it was reflected back to us, which was pretty stupid on my part. I could have easily had a lot more health there. That being said, grit is going to get us back into shape, and then we're just going to gain a lot of reflect from it, so it might actually work out to our advantage. Keep him stunned, keep him stunned. We're still pretty far away from killing this spine. Definitely gonna have to do a bit more work in terms of anger stacking to get there. Like, we're almost at 100 anger. That's already really good, but guy does have 6,000 life. Each of these shrapnel bombs is doing like 500 damage a piece now. Okay, we can stun him down again. Lightning bolt coming in clutch there to essentially dispel that Jinx. I mean, we're drawing a lot of corruptions now. $150 anger. Yeah, we're running low on demolitions here. Oh man. Definitely a big shame we lost that one earlier. No shrapnel bomb. There's another shrapnel bomb. $11 Jinx. That is just disgusting. Yeah, see, that was a total misplay there. I just played right into the Jinx. I think here I'm just hoping I can play enough abilities to get through it, but I'm just wasting my time. Ooh, that was all a big misplay. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so we survived one more round because of the battle resilience. We do have 100 stagger, though. Yeah, so I think we got a little bit unlucky there with not getting another shrapnel bomb just when we needed it. But there was also a misplay at the start with playing that demolition into the thing that converts it into a corruption. Yeah, damn. So we didn't quite manage to take down the spine, but I think you guys saw like the potential of the build there. So maybe if we had 2 more demolitions and I hadn't wasted that one stun there into the Jinx, we could have potentially drawn the game out just long enough to take him down. But if you just keep that playstyle going, where you use kind of half your bombs to stack Anger with Battleborn and the Shrapnel Bomb, and use the other half to just stun them down and dispel Blessings, you can get super far with this build. All you need to do is take that Demolition card at the start and then just copy it and take defensive talents on the way there, and you too can like blow your way through the Sunforge. So I hope that helps some of you guys get into the Sunforge and use this build. One of my favorites, super fun, super high damage, lots of controlling, lots of stuns, lots of dispelling, lots of healing with all those talents we had. And I hope the next time you see Dante, you can give him a fistful of bombs as well. Have a nice day.